picture this. You've been having out this Chile for well over a month. And after a while, you've been finally been able to convince her to come and see you. Let's assume haukuwa unasikia vizuri, so msupa akakuletea fruits na akakuja akapika uji. And out of the making of the uji, you miraculously gained some energy. You became Thanos. And before the both of you realize, you are all putting up an Olympic world performance in horizontal gymnastics. So, as an act of precaution, you decide to kuweka P2 mpangoni. Fast forward, well over 2 months, you've not been in touch with each other, you've not been talking much because, you know, both of you have ego issues like nani anafaa kutext mwingine wa kwanza, blah, 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 such kind of stuff. But now, she's calling you and she's like, Jemo, it's serious. She says that, akona boli yako. Aje, ukona boli yangu aje. Si ulimeza P2 nikiona. How did this all happen? Was it a setup? A report by the African Population and Health Research Center shows that 35% of women on emergency contraceptive pills, ama tuseme tu P2, conceived. As well as another 31% who were on injectables also got pregnant. Well, this has led to the number of abortions in Kenya. And according to the study, which was done in 2023, it shows that the unintended pregnancies stood at 1.4 million. 35% of people who used P2 still got pregnant. 31% wale walienda kudungwa shindano pia wao walipata mimba. So let's imagine of 1.4 million unwanted pregnancy. This report got me wondering, when wakiulizwa maswali, at what point were they being asked, did you want this baby or not? Anyway, I don't know, that's part of the research. So one of the interesting part about this research is that they didn't research on implants, IUDs, tubal ligation, condoms, and vasectomy. Well, always there's a cause and effect. So an unwanted pregnancy will lead to an effect of people wanting to abort. So in 2023, he said that 792,000 women procured abortion. These accounted to around 57.3% of induced abortions per 1,000 women aged between 15 and 49. 58% of the women who were interviewed were married, and some of them would say that the pregnancy they have, they did not want, so they would opt for an abortion. Why would you be married and not want kids? I don't know. Okay, yes, you can be, maybe you're married, but kids are not in your priority right now. But what do you think that means? Tell me more in the comment section. So the UN is concerned with Kenya's total disregard to human rights. And some of the things that they have discussed include abductions, gender-based violence, femicide, and also enforced disappearances. Like literally, other countries wanatuhimiza we observe human rights. You see, the same way your colleague or estimate can observe that uko na mchezo mwingi and be like, hey brother, imagine unachoma, utafanya tufutwe kazi. It's not like they are saying that utafanya tufutwe kazi in plural, but they just want to tell you utafutwa kazi. But here we are. Actually, Kenya faces the worst human rights record in the UN. So far, we have 339 recommendations that we've been given this year in the Geneva Convention on Human Rights. Happens after every 4.5 years. You see, from the Kibaki to the Uhuru to the Ruto regime, the regard for human rights has been going from bad to worse to worst. You know, when we got our new constitution, we hoped that it would help us enjoy human rights even more, but that seems to have changed for the worse. Right now, we have a state that treats high school drama students like criminals. I mean, we just abduct cartoonists because cartoons are so scary that they give us nightmares. And when Kasongo was asked about this whole abduction issue, just the day before yesterday, you could tell it was something that he was really ashamed of, especially in the Awageni, because he would not quote it. He would say that thing. Actually, I think he used the word abduct once. I'll play you the video.
The the issues that have been raised around what happened on the dates you have mentioned. There are three things that I can speak to it. Number one is that there is an accountability mechanism to make sure that...
Well, one of his typical promises was that it won't happen again. You know, we might want to believe him, but trust is like a broken egg. It cannot be repaired. We had this promise before he even took power. But what happened? People ended up being abducted, being killed. So why should we trust you not to abduct us from today? And then my question also goes to him, and how did the abduction start? Why did they see him as such a convenient option then? When you were abducting, didn't you know that it was wrong in the first place? And so far, how many people have been charged in relation to these abductions, forced disappearances, those people who killed during the demonstration? I actually have a lot of questions to ask, but let me stop there. Uhuru versus Ruto, round 2. It's a grand rematch, and Uhuru's shadow still looms large in the battle against Ruto. That was the Star headline for yesterday. Well, Uhuru is still playing a major role in the opposition politics, and maybe, just maybe, he could be the mastermind behind Matiang'i's bid for presidency. Uhuru's once cordial relationship with Ruto has quickly turned into one of the most fierce political antagonisms that we've lived to witness of late. And after the handshake, things have never been the same. And now that Ruto actually edged out Raila, who was Uhuru's preferred candidate for the previous election, Uhuru still has something against him, and he would like to teach him a political lesson. You are my deputy. I know a thing or two about politics that you might not know. And he's slowly gaining traction in the mountain and beyond. And after all the things he wonders about Ruto have already come to pass. I mean, it would have been so easy for Ruto to beat anything that comes from Uhuru and his people, because if he did the right thing, it would be so easy to prove that Uhuru was a problem. But now it seems that he was the worst of the two. But now, how will the Matiang'i card help in changing this political circus? I mean, with the Gen Z equation, what are the chances for a political alignment that comes with those tribal politics and kingmanship, where Matiang'i for the Kisii, I don't know who for the Murima, Kalonzo for the Wakamba, and such kind of stuff? Well, we cannot take out tribal politics from the Kenyan political scene. And while we might want to say that Matiang'i has a scorecard, especially, yes, take nothing from him, he performed so well as the education CS. I know class of 2016, I wanted to scare your story, but sorry, you guys were just collateral damage. Yes, I honestly want Ruto to must go. But surely, Matiang'i to be his replacement? I'm skeptical. With his total disregard of court orders, where court orders were just merely suggestions to Matiang'i, what will happen if he was president? You know, I remember when he was during the COVID times, and how they used to enforce those COVID rules, which were just, let me call them, backward. I wonder what he would do as president. Hopefully we Kenyans can elect some fresh blood in the political scene, try to create a complete overhaul of these politicians and leaders. We just start afresh. We just need fresh blood, because these people have been in government for so long, and even when they work elsewhere, they just want to go back to government. And it's government that we can see it's not giving us the fruit. What is so good about working in government that you don't want other people to have a taste?